Hello and welcome back to Histocracy.
Today we'll be looking at the origins of a range of sports.
Through a randomizer, I will ask each of these two questions about the history of specific sports, and they have no idea what sport will come up. So let's see how much they know. The first sport is rugby. Okay, Daniel, the first question is for you. You have
Yes.
to tell me, you have to give me a period of 50 years in which you think rugby was invented.
Think it was. I think it was maybe after football. I think it was like
Okay.
it's quite a modern game because no rugby was played. I remember in World War II they played it. So I'm gonna say 1900s, early 1900s.
That is incorrect. It was the actual time it was actually invented was 1823
Oh,
in Warwickshire, England.
that's a
Some
long
other
time
history
ago.
about it is it was invented by William Webb Ellis, and it was actually the ball actually got its shape in 1892. So they created it like
I was
as an
kind of
oval
close.
because it meant it had quicker passing and it
Yeah.
had extra flight when they kicked it. However, before the ball actually got into this like form it is, they actually used a pig's bladder before for using it. So yeah.
Wow.
And the next sport is drum roll, please. Okay, it's cycling. Okay, Paul, where do you think? Okay, which city did cycling start?
City.
Yeah.
Oh. I think of this.
I think I knew, but I let him answer.
Okay, I'm gonna try something that's gonna be stupid, but I think I might get it. New York.
Can I have a guess?
Nah, it was nowhere near. It's Paris,
I was
France.
gonna say that because of the
It
Tour
was,
de France.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big hint. Yeah,
True.
it was invented in 1791 by the first cycle by this guy called Comte de Sivrac. It was like he actually just invented like two wheels connected, and then there was like a little like saddle thing at the top. However, the actual like first cycle that was actually officially invented was by this German guy called Carl von Drey. So it was called like the Velocipede, and it was created in 1817. So anyway, the next sport is zorbing.
Oh
Do
man.
you guys know what zorbing is?
No.
I'd like to say I do, but no.
Uh, okay, yeah. So zorbing is
Wasn't that the
basically
Zorballs,
you,
like the big plastic balls?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
those big
Wow.
balls. But then the thing is, there's not just like one ball. There's like another small ball inside that one big ball, and so you're inside that small ball, and you basically roll down a hill.
Yeah.
So it's if you're supposed to be doing it like like hamsters have those rollers.
Yeah.
So that's how they were actually invented. So it was like a hamster ball that they used to roll in. So my question is, what country did it originate in?
What country?
Yeah.
I don't think it's England, because it's just like it'll be more like famous over here. I
Mm.
think it'd be more of sort of like a summer country. Maybe I'm thinking
It,
either
it's
the
a
Americas or like Australia. I think Australia.
you're really close. It was New Zealand.
Oh my,
Oh,
that's
New
actually close.
Zealand.
It was yes, New
That's
Zealand.
surprise. I would never
Hey,
think.
Yeah,
I'd give
19
you the
nine.
point for that.
Mm. Okay, I'll give it to you then.
What?
1994, New Zealand.
Fair
I
enough.
think it's
Half,
out
half,
of
half
all
a
the
point.
places
Half
in
a
the
point.
world,
Half a
half a
point.
point. Okay, half a point. Okay. Anyway, the next sport is hmm. Okay. It is extreme ironing.
Okay.
Okay.
How does this work?
Paul, you ready for this one? Where
Yeah.
did you think who okay, I'll give you two questions. Who invented it and where was it invented?
But can I answer one of them?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, I know 100%. I don't know who it was. But my
Yeah.
best option, hot ironing.
Extreme ironing, yeah.
Extreme ironing. How does that work?
So it's like you have the specific restrictions on how big an ironing board and how big the cloth should be, and you basically have to do ironing in different places in extreme
Right.
environments. You have
Okay.
like people going to like really cold places and doing ironing there.
That sounds like some.
When you hear the answer, it'll kind of be weird because it's you're gonna get a hint from like where it would be invented because
I
of the
think
actual
I. You
extreme
know.
environment.
I'm gonna try it. I think it's England.
That is correct.
I
It
thought
is
so.
in Leicester, England. It was
Yeah, I
actually
thought so.
invented in 1997. So if you actually look at like a timeline of sports, you'll see that many of the countries where extreme sports started, they'll all be in like around the period of late 1900s and early late 20th century. So I think that this like
Yeah.
a period where extreme sports started quite a lot.
It just sounded like some of the sport the English would make
Mm,
just for some reason. Yeah.
yeah.
So
The next one you'll probably know now. Daniel,
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you what the country of origin was for football, but I'm going to ask you when was the FA, the Football Association, born? In which century?
And what century?
quite true.
So the FA is the Football Association, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well, we obviously know that football came from England, didn't it? I'm pretty sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, it was the Great Britain. Yeah,
Yeah. So I think using. So as you said before, rugby was invented in 1800s.
mm,
I think football might be the same. So I'll say 19th century.
that is correct. It was
Yeah.
in 1863 when it was invented.
Ooh.
And however, we actually have records that people used to play it in the 12th century. The Chinese actually claim to have founded it earlier, like informally, but many people would have played this game incognito because we have like a ball and just someone kicking a ball is quite common anyway. And then we actually know that now Sheffield FC was actually one of the world's oldest clubs, and earlier people actually used to be able to punch the ball with fists to inside the game.
That's
So
quite
yeah,
interesting.
that's the origin of football. Well, the next one is ice hockey.
Okay.
Well, ice hockey. Okay. I actually, Paul, I will ask you, which city was it invented in? I can
Yeah.
tell you it was invented in Canada. Which city was it invented in?
Oh, Canada. Yeah, I don't even know that many Canadian cities.
You probably have heard of this city. It's not a very uncommon city.
Right. If it's not uncommon, there's two
Yeah.
main ones I can think of: Toronto
Okay.
and Montreal.
Yeah.
It's one of those two.
Guess one.
Toronto.
Incorrect. It was Montreal.
No. I knew it was
Yeah.
one of those two. I
it,
knew it was one
it
of
was
those two.
Yeah, it was invented in 1875, and James Crayson is actually credited for creating the actual organized sport. However, actual ice hockey is one of like ice hockey and hockey are one of the actual sports that didn't evolve literally at all, apart from the fact that the goal was slightly changed. But however, other sports actually changed much more. But if you actually look at normal hockey has sources of being invented from Britain, Egypt, Ethiopia, from all those three countries before Christ, so in the BC
Oh
times.
wow.
We actually have records that people used to play it at those times, which is far back than many of the sports. So I think ice hockey is actually quite taken from the hockey which used to play,
Yeah.
probably one of the oldest sports yet. Well, the next sports, we have four left. The next one is cricket.
Ooh.
Oh.
I think you probably know cricket was founded in England.
Yes.
But Daniel, I am going to ask you who originally used to play it. So not like a specific person, but what people used to play it in England.
Which like No, what do you mean by
Like
that? Like a
what?
group of people, like they're
Yeah, so not like a cricket team or something, but like like there are some people who had a specific occupation and they used to play it because they had those facilities. So who used to play it? So like was it like, let's say if it was like, for example, it could be accountants, but it's not accountants, of course, but who could it be?
is it like? Because I've heard it's called like isn't cricket like a gentleman's game? So I don't know, like gentlemen. Would you just
Mm.
say that? I don't know.
You could, correct, but it was played originally by English shepherds. So
Shepherds.
of like the sheep pens, they
Oh
used to use
yeah.
a gate as the whole gate as the stumps, and there used to be a crossbar on top, which was the bales. So that's how they used to play. It was officially made in the 18th century, but we actually have records as well of it being generated in Anglo-Saxon and Norman times as well. So I think it also has quite old roots, but I think the actual official sport is quite 300 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Let me make a guess where it came from.
mm,
Somerset. Yeah.
I'm not
Well,
actually sure. I
is it
think it would
towards
have been
the
somewhere
sea?
around there because it's like a Midlands type. Well, I'm not, no, it's not Somerset, but I think Somerset is
It's on like
an area, it's
It's
not
fieldy
really in the
fields.
Midlands.
areas
I'm
of like
Somerset.
Yeah,
fields
it's
and
fieldy, yeah. So
yeah.
there would have been quite a lot of farmers and stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
area.
think that's a very good like guess, educated guess for cricket's city
Yeah.
start. Anyway, the next sport is basketball. Okay, Paul, you know a lot about basketball, but I'm
Yep.
gonna ask you what time period did it start in? So like
Oh no, I don't know this.
around to the closest 50 years. So like
50 years.
round up to a 50-year mark.
I feel like it started 50 years. All right.
Yeah.
I feel like basketball started in 1870 somewhere there, up to 1900s.
Okay. That's a
So like,
really good guess. It was
I'm gonna say
actually 1890s. So
okay.
that was very close. It was originated in the USA. James Naismith is actually credited for the start of basketball. He you know the nowadays what's called Springfield College. That's where he invented it. So before they used to actually use a peach basket, which they used to collect fruit peaches in. And
Yeah.
this man was asked to actually make an indoor game that had less injuries than their version of gridiron football. So the coach asked him to make a game, and he created basketball. So I think
All right.
it's a very interesting story if you actually look deep into it. But I think it's probably got the best story out of all of them.
Oh well.
I think. Anyway, the next sport is roller skating.
Oh,
So how did roller skating begin? Daniel,
yes.
what country do you think this originated in?
I think it might be somewhere in Europe.
Yeah,
Okay. Um, see. So it needs obviously a place of like space and whatever. But like that's what all the
yeah.
countries are.
Yeah, I think if you actually look into deep into like the times before World War and stuff, they actually have like different fashion trends, different countries. So I
Yeah.
think it was. I'll give you a hint. It was used as like a new trend in fashion. So
New
it
trend
was
fashion.
you first used in a party.
Well, I do know that. For example, I know three countries. There's France, Italy, and Belgium. I know. This is just one
Yeah.
of them.
Mm.
Like, if it was invented in France, I think it might be more popular there. Because I've
Yeah.
been there a lot,
I
but
can tell you
I don't see it
it's one of
much.
those three countries.
Oh, it's actually one of the three. Okay. I haven't been
Yes.
to Italy before, so I don't know what it's like,
Yeah.
but I'm just gonna say Belgium.
Belgium is correct. It was
Nice.
created in 1735 in Belgium by John Joseph Merlin. He actually first used it in a party and then he crashed into a mirror, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yes.
Wait. Did the
And
mirror
then
crack?
probably I'm guessing.
I was doing
Uh,
70s of bad luck then.
yeah. But I think that's how they decided to wear helmets from now on.
Yeah.
The actual original roller skates, they weren't just like they weren't specific things that were like they weren't just like wheels stuck to shoes. They were just like there was this huge mechanism that was stuck to like a normal shoe. It looks like so it was like a normal like a formal shoe, and then there was this strap that would go on the top of where your like lower shin would start, and that's how the wheels were interconnected with like a piece of like gold or bronze chaining. So
Hmm.
I think they're definitely quite different to how how our normal roller skates look like. I think now we also have ones which like one column of wheels rather than two columns. So yeah. Anyway, the last sport is drum roll, please. It is water polo. Water polo.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So pool, water polo. Your question is what was when was it started in? Which century?
Water polo.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna assume it started in Italy. Anything with Italian
Okay.
history. I'm not 100% sure about this. Century.
Yeah.
I feel like it started in the 1800s.
Yeah.
19th century.
1800. Yeah, that's correct. It was the mid 19th century, so it was like just around like around 1860s, 1870s, or somewhere around
Yeah.
there. So it
A
was
lot of
actually
sports
originated
originated
not
at
in
that time. Of sports
yeah,
originated.
yeah, a lot of sports were originated at that time. I think there was probably a very big change in terms of sports at that time. It
Yeah.
actually wasn't originated in Italy. It was originated in Great Britain. It
Wow.
actually spread to other countries, so like Germany, France, America in the 1890s, and then it was originally played in lakes and rivers. So William Wilson is actually credited for developing all the actual official rules that we have now. So the ball was constructed from Indian leather, and in the early days, people were actually allowed to wrestle underwater for the ball. So
Wow.
it was a much more of like a game of brutal strength
Do you
at
know
that
which one came
time.
first though? Polo or water polo?
I'm guessing polo probably. I'm gonna check this, but I think polo would have been the first because I think if we look at hockey and ice hockey, I think the normal sport usually comes first, and then they put it into a specific like
Yeah.
environment. So I think it would have been normal polo. I think first. Well, anyway, that is it for now. Hope you laughed and learned something new.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And we'll see you on the next one.